LipoBind, proud sponsors of the Really Useful Health Show.
Despite the fact that there's no calorie counting required in the real life diet, there are tips and rules that you need to follow if you want to achieve success. Now, up until now, you may have been your own worst enemy, but actually, if you learn to meet your body's needs and get going on this plan, you can become your own best friend. It's important to pamper yourself with lots of foods that you enjoy rather than feeling deprived, because you're not going to stick to anything in the long term if you feel that it is a punishment. And your mental attitude is just as important as the things that you take to the checkout in the supermarket. So it's really important to gear yourself up and get really ready, and this is a great time of year to get started. You will, in the first instance, require a little bit of willpower, just as you would on any other eating plan, but I'm going to be helping you with this plan with supplements that will help to curb your cravings, which will help a lot. So now let's go for some of the tips to actually get you back into the driving seat and help you to achieve your goals. One of the first things I like to do is make a big collage on a great big piece of cartridge paper where you can cut out all sorts of images of how you see the new you, looking absolutely slim and gorgeous and happy in any situation you like, and then you can gaze at it several times a day and just vision yourself how you'd like to be. And it's also important to look at the emotional triggers that send you off to the biscuit tin or to the chocolate bars. And then once you've identified what they are, you can work out ways of dealing with them other than going for the quick fix. Now, one of the things that will help you along the way is to have a diet that's rich in chromium, magnesium, and B vitamins. So I've been talking about these nutrients that are really important for normal blood glucose control, and that will help to curb your cravings. And it's important to start when you've got plenty of time, when you've got time for planning and you've got time to actually concentrate on getting yourself started, because there may be a few withdrawal symptoms in the first instance and you may need to shut yourself away for a few days and not have too many social arrangements. As far as shopping is concerned, it's really important, rather than going shopping once a week, that you do your shopping a couple of times a week at least. And bear in mind that things like fruit and vegetables and salad only have a short shelf life, so it's important to keep them refrigerated somewhere really cool so that they don't spoil. And I would plan your shop before you actually go out so that you've got a list of all the different things that you're planning to get, and make sure you stick to the list, so no deviating. And also, don't go shopping on an empty stomach. That is a big disaster, because you will undoubtedly pick up things and put them in your trolley that you wouldn't if you'd actually fed yourself before you went. So eat at least half an hour before you go out, and that's from personal experience too. And make sure you've got plenty of good food. So you want at least 3 meals a day and probably 2 in-between meal snacks. And the thing is, if you're female and in your premenstrual phase, your calorie requirements go up by about 500 calories a day. So it's really important to make sure you've got good food, little and often, to keep you ticking over. And never miss a meal. That's a disaster, because then you will go and eat things that you shouldn't be eating otherwise. Another little trick is to put your food on a smaller plate. So rather than having a small amount of food on a big plate that looks really lost, if you've got a slightly smaller plate, you can pile on up the food, and psychologically it feels better, feels that you've got more to eat. And perhaps have a glass of water about half an hour before you're going to eat, because that will fill your tummy. And it's all about making you feel full so that you don't just keep eating. And make sure you've got plenty of fresh choices, fresh food whenever you can, rather than processed and pre-prepared food, because it will deliver more nutrients. And when you're cooking, try and grill your food or steam your food so that you don't lose too many nutrients and you don't get too much fat. So that will cut down your fat intake as well. And it's important to sit and actually savour your food. So don't hurry your meals, and make sure when you're preparing your meals that you've got plenty of time to actually sit down and eat your food, but also enjoy preparing the food, and don't go and sit down at the table until you've got everything ready, so that you're sitting there with everything you're going to need for the meal. You won't need to get up again. And for whatever you do, don't watch the TV while you're eating. It's really important to make sure that you're just concentrating on the food and savouring the flavour, and maybe sharing the meal with a friend or a family member. And the other thing to do is to make sure that you get plenty of exercise, because exercise coupled with a really good diet will speed up your metabolic rate, and within a fairly short amount of time it will have you feeling so much better as well as looking really good. So don't forget to join me for the next show, because we're going to be looking at the day in the life of a slimmer you, and that will be rounding off this particular series. So I look forward to joining you then.
LipoBind, proud sponsors of the Really Useful Health Show